And hello once again to CBD Blogger. Today we're going to be talking a bit of a summary on the teas that we've been looking at. So my name is Matt.
And I'm Jonathan.
Okay, so we've got a series of self-asked and self-answered questions going on here. Do you want to start?
Yeah, so, I mean, if you've seen any other videos, you've seen we've looked at some of these individual teas and we've looked at some taste test sort of comparisons. But really now we wanted to take just a broader view, and here's just a small sample of what's on the market. You know, the tea market, like many other aspects of the CBD market, just seems to be growing at a rate.
If we were asking what have we learnt so far, one of the things is, given that CBD products only been legal in the UK since 2017, is just the range of teas on the market. It is incredible.
Yeah. And actually, it's one of those things. I mean, what we want to do is the fact that obviously we've initially started with teas, but you know, the question that I guess we've been asking as well of ourselves is tea a good way to take and start a journey with CBD?
Well, it's a good question. I think that our initial answer is it's not the most accessible. I mean, all of the CBD products are available off the shelf or on e-commerce sites. You can just buy them, but it feels like a fairly accessible and easy way to integrate it into your day.
So annoying, these bloody ones.
Didn't check it. Teas just seem like, you know, you drink tea or coffee, you have it in the morning, the evening, whatever. Having a CBD tea is just a natural sort of, I'll take one down and I'll brew a tea.
Yeah.
There are certain CBD methods which become a little bit more sort of, not prescription wise, but you know, the oils you need to take it in the morning, got to remember, take it in the evening, got to remember. Now we may discover that consistency and timing becomes an important factor in whether CBD actually really helps you. But if you're figuring things out, we just thought tea was easy to grab.
It is, you know, and there are, you know, they definitely fall into sort of the, the breakfast teas and trying to bring the elements of CBD there to give you an alertness and freshness to the day. There are then the evening teas, which are then looking at the CBD more from the point of view of relaxing and putting it with the chamomile.
It's not the CBD though, is it? The CBD seems to be a consistent ingredient across all of them. The definition of a morning tea to an evening tea is the other ingredients that are in the tea.
Yeah.
So if the tea's got chamomile in it, it's going to veer towards being an evening tea. But the sort of Assam teas make it a breakfast tea.
But there are other things going on, isn't it? There are aspects and strains of CBD that actually, you know, when you get into the different sort of profiles of it, that can be better for alertness and others are better for relaxation. That's not really the case here.
But interestingly, as a question, none of the teas give any explanation as to how any of that benefits you or works for you.
No.
You know, they say it's got CBD in it. But it doesn't actually give you any more information. So there's no comparison from one tea to the next on the CBD basis as to what you're getting.
And actually, I think as well, some of the things with probably the teas, maybe compared to things like the oils or other ingestibles, is that there seems to be a range of degrees of explanation as to how much CBD is in it. You know, there is a very wide sort of range from something where you're getting specific milligrams of CBD, and they can vary quite dramatically. And then teas that have purely got hemp in them, and there's a non-specified amount of CBD.
Yeah, which leads on, I suppose, to the next thing about the difference between hemp tea and infused tea. So again, what we've learnt is that you kind of have two options. One is going to affect taste. So if you have a hemp tea, where you actually got the hemp in your brew, you're going to have a hempy taste to differing degrees depending on what else is in the cup. And if it's infused with CBD, there's no hemp in there at all. So you've got no hemp flavour. So that's definitely a taste issue across the teas. So if you discover you don't like the taste of hemp, look on the packaging, check there's no hemp in it, it's infused, you're good to go. But you're right. Comparing them to see what you're getting benefit-wise in terms of really how much CBD is really hard.
It is. I mean, it's easier with the infused ones because they can be quite specific as to how much they're put in. With hemp, it's not an exact science in that same way, is it?
Not at all. I mean, take this one, for example. I pick up one which we haven't actually taste reviewed, but I've been drinking, and this is 100% hemp. So there's nothing else in this. It is just the hemp. So there's no disguising the flavour there. But it doesn't tell you what you're getting in terms of CBD.
No.
Nothing.
Well, it being organic, and it must vary from batch to batch as well, isn't it? And I think that's the thing, isn't it? They can't put any really consistency on it. Whereas an infused one, because it's it's like artificial process, if you like, of putting a set amount of CBD in it. Like you say, you can get the CBD in it, and the flavour profile of the tea is just the flavour of the tea, isn't it?
Yeah, and they differ enormously. I mean, this one here, the evening tea, which has got hemp, linden, valerian, lavender root. There's no tea in that one at all, actually, as such. It's an infusion, really.
Yeah.
But that's got the hemp in it, and then that on this one though, they do actually say that it's 20 milligrams per bag of CBD, and that's not infused. That is brewed. So they're saying it, but they're not. So you wonder from one manufacturer to the next how it is they are assessing the quantities as a consumer, so you know what it is you're actually getting. It's easy, as you say, with the infused ones. Which one was infused? This one here.
I think all the rocket ones are definitely infused.
They are, and they qualify how much CBD you're getting. They say 5 milligrams of CBD per bag. Yeah. Now, being infused, you'd kind of feel that was an accurate figure.
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely.
The question I think though is how much CBD do you need in your tea for it to be worthwhile?
Yeah. Now that's really, really a subjective thing, isn't it?
I mean, this has got 20.
Because
this has got 5.
Yeah, I think one of these has got 3.5. Yeah. So at 20 in the range of teas, that's pretty high end, isn't it? That's
so far. But that implies that you'd need to drink 4 cups of this to equal what you're getting from that tea there. It's a fair question, because one of the things we've been looking to ascertain is to get the benefit from CBD. How much do you actually need? Yeah, and it seems everywhere we've looked, particularly on YouTube, there's no definitive answer. It's like it's different for everybody. So different people are going to require different amounts.
And it is, unfortunately, it's one of those things, because there isn't a prescribed amount. So effectively, everybody's got to go on their own journey of learning and testing it, really, as to at what level they feel like actually it is having a difference. But I think the good thing is with the teas is that they are all low dose compared to the oils. So it's like you say, it's very accessible. I mean, very easy, and it's a good way to start.
That's a valid thing to say. I mean, we've tried these teas and we've been surprised at the range in CBD dosage that you're getting, from 5 to 20, but 20 milligrams is nothing in terms of other products. When we found oils which sort of suggest 6,000 mg, 6,000, and it's like, whoa. I mean,
you might not want to start there.
even gummies, simple gummies are coming out at 25 milligrams per gummy. Yeah. So presumably, you eat half the packet.
I think they probably say don't eat half the packet. Yeah. But exactly, compared to the teas, they are definitely steps up. So as I say, I think it's about. The teas are an easy way. You can experiment with it. You're not going to take too much of it on board, so there's no worries about that.
What we've seen so far, you can't. Well, and again, as we've qualified before, interested consumers, not experts, on our journey to discover things about CBD. So we will say things that are potentially wrong, and we will stand corrected. Yeah. So I was about to say you can't overdose on CBD. This is what I've read, that because of the nature of what CBD is, you can't have too much of it as such. But of course, individual people will say that different quantities are too much for them personally.
Absolutely, and it is one of those things that it's going to vary so much from person to person. You know, I think the thing is, we all probably wish it was clearer and more transparent, but because there's no standards and regulations set around this, there's nothing where you can go, oh, okay, I'm this height, I'm this weight, I need this amount of CBD.
Right.
It unfortunately just doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work like that. So body weight could have a factor on how you absorb the CBD. Metabolism could have a
your
factor.
own physiology.
Genetics could have a factor. We understand that...
Well, it's whether you're taking anything else as well.
Could it inhibit or could it be inhibited? That's a good question.
Yeah.
We know that there's all the tea people say, well, the black teas, you can drop some milk in, and the fat in the milk can help the CBD compounds bond with yourself and absorption.
Yeah.
But again, we're not seeing anything particularly scientific on that.
I think that's the whole thing, isn't it? That there is that absence of science. I think it's an area of huge interest to people to have a look at, and I think the teas do give you that great starter for it.
We've started with the teas, and I think it's a good place to start, and I think then you can start seeing how you feel. So if you have one of these teas, an evening tea for example, and you actually get a better night's sleep because of it, then clearly it's had a benefit to you. So you can say, well, okay, it's a good place, we'll work a little bit with that. You can then start doing a bit more research and integrating other options for CBD once you know it actually works. Because there's bound to be some people that take it and go, nothing.
No.
Didn't feel anything.
That's right.
Didn't help with anything. My anxiety's still off the charts. Or whatever reason you're taking it, aches, pains, or whatever. If there's bound to be some people that say it doesn't work for them.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's probably a question of just getting it in the right form for them. So it may well be that the teas can't give them enough, and it's time to look at something a little stronger.
I don't know if I've told you this. I saw a video, which probably we should have so we could link to, but there's some research has been done that suggested that it's not, you can have too little and have no effect, you can have too much and you can have no effect, but there's like a sort of a Goldilocks volume in the middle that will have the effect.
Right.
But the question is, how do you determine this? So
that's made it even more abstract, hasn't it?
So because it means as an individual then you've got to start plotting a chart, if you like, on a daily basis by going, well, this week I'm going to take so much, next week a little bit more, and so forth, until you go, oh, actually, when I take that dosage, I feel really quite responsive to it. But when I'm taking that dosage in that week, really didn't help. So, it's there's a big area of experimentation from one person to the next here.
But anyway, I think that's...
What other questions did you think?
Really, it's a question of what other stuff we'd covered in terms of how do you know how much tea you're having? I mean, and how much CBD you're having, and that opens up that other area between, even though you're having a tea that's got 5 milligrams of CBD infused into the tea, it's not scientific as to how much of that 5 milligrams is actually going into the drink itself, and then how much of that 5 milligrams your body's actually absorbing, and all these things are,
I mean, to be
really
accurate,
sort of unravel all the numbers side of it.
To
completely.
be accurate, should it not say 1 tea bag per so much volume of water
will give you a certain
big
concentration?
Mug or a little cup? I mean, is that going to?
I think
change?
Probably make it even more complex, isn't it? I think the thing is, isn't it? It's if you want that specificity about it, is then it's probably into more the gummies and oils.
These kind people have watched us and tuned in, and I don't think we're being terribly helpful.
It'd be lovely if you could be conclusive and actually just draw up a matrix and say this will give you this and this will give you this. But as we're just sharing with you, as we're sort of learning, unfortunately, it's not.
I think it'd be great if you are watching, if you can make comments on what we're doing and what we're saying, because it's your feedback that's going to help us direct where we go and how we deal with this and what questions we ask, and what information we can get.
And I'm sure it's going to continue to evolve. Probably as the next generation of products come out, there's going to be more information around them. There's probably maybe going to be a little bit more regulation will start to come in over time as well. So I think all these things hopefully will become clearer.
I think actually where it will pick up in the UK is with trade descriptions. I think that's probably where it's going to fall down. I mean, it doesn't need regulation in the sense of medication because it isn't. It doesn't fall into that area. But there's going to be some attention from trade descriptions in terms of what the individual manufacturers are claiming. And what information they're providing.
Yes.
And at the moment, I suspect it's a forest, and it needs someone to start maybe sticking some labels on the trees so we all know what it is we're actually buying and what we're benefiting from. Anyhow. On that rambling note.
Yes. We'll continue to look more at teas and see how they evolve, but obviously looking at a far wider range of products, and we'll be upping the intake of CBD as we go.
And the quality of information that we discuss and bring to you.
Well, hopefully have some more value and insight to it as we progress.
Okay, so it'd be great if you could like us, be fantastic if you can subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Yep, see you soon.